and we are in our third week of physical distancing. I don't want to call it social distancing because we're connected and we're still having access to each other somehow. So, physical distancing. And I wanted to connect. I wanted to see how you're doing, how you're holding up, how are things happening for you in your world during what I'm calling this sacred pause. Are you taking the opportunity to really connect inward? And how are you doing it? And what's coming up for you? I'd love to share with you a bit what I've been finding and seeing and experiencing in my conversations and within myself as well, in the hopes that it will connect with you, right? This is definitely a sacred pause where we have been, asked to go into stillness, right? And asked is a overstatement, right? It's really been a imposition, right? It's been imposed on us, right? It's like the universe, God hit the pause button and said, we're going to stop right here, right now, and we're just going to sit with this and experience this. And I believe it's allowing us to learn so much about ourselves. And that's the invitation. Like, have you had the time during these 3 weeks to really go inward and get a feel for maybe what it's calling from within you? And the funny thing about this experience is that it comes in layers, right? And we're experiencing it in different ways, right? Some of us are in overwhelm, right? And it makes sense, right? We're boss ladies that had a lot of things on our plate. And now we have things, instead of being taken out of our plate, added to our plate, right? Because now we're teachers, we're cooking more than often, we're cleaning, we're taking care of the kids to a degree that's different from how our lifestyles were before. And that could, in addition to everything here, we're still building our business, working from home, figuring out this virtual thing, trying to keep up with what our responsibilities were, right? And still are. So I could see a lot of overwhelm. I feel some moments a lot of overwhelm. So that may be where you're living a lot of the time throughout this experience. It may be anxiety, right? Anxiety is very much about stressing the future, stressing the unknown, not knowing what's next, not knowing what to expect, right? Not knowing, oh, I lost my earring. Not knowing exactly how life is going to be for you on the other side of this. And that could create huge amounts of anxiety. So that may be where you're living a lot of the time. And it may just be straight up fear. It may just be straight up fear. I know that I've felt fear. I have three of my family members, my daughter, her girlfriend, my daughter in law, all working in the healthcare industry. They're actually frontline support in hospitals. And I have my son in New York, which is one of the cities that, have been impacted worse. And they're like on full lockdown. And I've gone into fear. I've gone into fear around those things and the uncontrollable and the powerlessness that is felt when things are just happening so fast that it's a whirlwind. So where are you living? And it may sound different, right? It doesn't have to be overwhelm, anxiety, and fear. It's just identifying what's coming up for you. That's the invitation. That's where I ask you to go during this process, right? And then the other thing is, once you see what it is, the invitation is to be still with it, right? Find a way in which you can come inward and be still with that experience, right? For me, it's very much meditation. I have the ability to just tap in and connect. And one of the ways that I'm able to do that is through maybe a body scan to like settle me in and allow me to feel grounded, where I start to feel the parts of me and consciously tap into those parts of me. So I'll connect, maybe I'll start from my feet, and I'll be like, I feel my feet, and connect consciously to them, how they feel, and come to an awareness of them being there and sending love to my feet. And then I'll move up to my ankles and move up to my legs and progressively move up through my entire body, just taking awareness of them being there, consciously feeling into that space in my body and sending love allows me to kind of ground and settle in. And in that practice, I'm able to then go into a practice of, okay, what am I feeling? I'm feeling overwhelmed. Okay, what does that feel like? Where am I feeling it? Like, it could be your neck, it could be your back, it could be your chest where you're like short breaths, it could be your solar plex. I know for me, anxiety and fear, that's where they live, right? In my solar plexus. It's like a big ball in the center of my stomach, and my digestive system gets activated. And you want to sit there and say, I feel you. I see you. I love you. How can I support you? Sending some love to those parts of you that are in mode and in charge, like in this like energetic pull. That ability to send love and just be with it is allowing yourself to have a sacred pause and allowing yourself to integrate, right? This is a much better way to manage what we're experiencing than what we tend to do, right? Sometimes it's drinking, or it's overeating, or it's binging on TV, or it's all the different things that we do in order to cope and not deal. And the recommendation here and the calling here is to deal with it, to sit with it, to look at it, to experience it, to evidence it, to give it awareness, and to say yes to it. We're done with pushing it away. We're done with just letting it sit there and suppressing it or ignoring it or denying it through other things and other patterns. That is why we've been put in this space of just sacred stillness and pause. So I invite you, now that we're in the third week and that we've gotten through the frantic stage, to really start to look into stuff like that, and how it would look like for you. Maybe it's journaling, maybe it's prayer, maybe it's, cranking up the music and dancing like no one is watching. Moving our body moves energy through our body, and it's all good. Maybe it's reading a book. Okay, where does that stillness, you with you, can happen? And one of the things that I am most that I've practiced in these days and have helped me, and is one of my favorite things, is the Ho'oponopono exercise. And it's a very fulfilling practice, right? And this is something that's going to allow you to release tension, to release triggers, to release the recriminations that may be coming up. I know, like, for me, sometimes I'm in like hope, right? And I'm in curiosity, and I'm in excitement, and I'm honored. Like, even throughout this, I'm feeling those emotions because it's like we're creating history. The world is going to be so different on the other side of this. We're going to have so many opportunities to really tap in to who we are, to be unapologetically authentic, to be self-expressed, because we're elevating the planet. And I get into all this wonderful thoughts of how it's going to be. And then I go into shame. Maybe I think, oh my God, look at me in this place of, hope and faith and trust. And here there's so much suffering, right? There's so much pain. There's so much loss, right? So there is everything being felt, right? You could feel grieving for the loss that we felt, because this is a loss of our daily lives, a loss of what we knew to be who we were, right? You could feel curiosity to what's coming. You could feel fear. You could feel hope and trust. You could feel all of it. You can feel shame because you're not feeling anything, and that's good too, right? And there's the exercise of Ho'oponopono, which allows you to come back home to self, to release whatever's triggering you and the different recriminations that you place, and I place, and we place upon ourselves. And the way that works is just four simple phrases, right? It's I am sorry. So you start with I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. Thank you. So it's I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. Thank you. And in using these phrases, you can go through any process that you're experiencing. It could be a process for yourself to reconcile with a way of thinking, a way of being. It could be a process that you use for someone else that maybe you've had an experience or been triggered or reacted unexpectedly towards. It could be something from the past, someone that's lingering in your life and you want to let go and release them, and you just say I'm sorry, and just verbalize what you're sorry about. I'm sorry that I reacted that way. I'm sorry that I behaved unexpectedly. I'm sorry that I scared you. I'm sorry that I am, sad, whatever it may be. And then you say, please forgive me. Forgive me for not taking your thoughts, your feelings into consideration. Forgive me for being so abrupt. Forgive me for not sitting with you, myself, and having these moments. And then you go into I love you. I love you. I love you. I love what you're about. I love how we're sharing this life together. I love that you're a part of me that is taking care of me. And you go into I thank you. Thank you. And you can do this. I do it for rounds after rounds with different people. I'll take and I'll imagine, visualize each one of my children, or visualize people that are very important to me, and I go through the round. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you and thank you. And it's important to do this exercise for yourself, with yourself. So that is a tool that I am sharing in the hopes that it will help you get through this process. My idea and my plan is to come on here regularly and support you with whatever tools or just sharing experiences. And I invite you to do the same.